My name is Norma Manuel, and I'm a member of the Adams Lake Band. I'm an elder from the community. My association with Round Lake has been years. I went to some initial meetings with Johnny Billy and Emery and Ruth Williams and Buzz Morissette and a few other people that joined the bandwagon to get Round Lake going. One person that hadn't been mentioned is Louise Gabriel from the Penticton Reserve, and she attended a few meetings as well, and she's since passed away. I think it's about a year since she's been passed away. And so I actually went from the formative years, and I didn't stay, I wasn't consistent with my going to the meetings, and then I found my sobriety and recovery, and there was a position opening here, and it was to train addiction counselor people to work in the addictions field. And many of the staff who are here went through that training, and it was a 6-month training, and it was almost like a 6-month treatment program because we covered everything, and part of the program was to go through treatment as well. So I taught that program for 8 years, and most of those years were spent with Chief Wayne Cookby, Wayne Christian, and just an excellent, fabulous person to work with. Very creative and innovative in looking at always being creative in how we treated the people, you know, like meeting their needs, and the focus was always on the client. So I was really grateful for Wayne being here. And so after 8 years of this training program, it was federally sponsored when the federal government had a lot of dollars in the employment program. So the people that were coming here were paid to attend. So when that money ceased to be, then the program ceased as well. And then I went and did my own thing. I was doing stuff in the community, and then they advertised for a clinical supervisor. So my last 3 years with Round Lake was in the position of clinical supervision of numerous staff. I can't remember how many. And during that period, Wayne left, I think, about 2.5 years into that part. But I was very grateful. He allowed me to work 4 days and 1 day for study. And while I was here, I got my master's in marriage and family counseling. So, and it like you said, it was like a reunion today. You know, like I do see Wayne often, but I don't see the other people that often. And so it was really, really good to be in their company. What the anniversary means to me is just the whole impact of the Round Lake Treatment Center on the communities, and I would say all of Canada. In the training program, there was a woman from Australia came over and took the training program, and she was here for 2 years. So, and she was going to work with Aboriginal people in Australia, and she gained a lot from here. And so I was thinking of her, you know, when this ceremony was on, because she was a part of that. A lot of people from BC, but there are also people from Alberta. As far as I think we had people from Ontario come to treatment here. And it's successful because the staff know what they're doing. You know, they keep up to date on stuff, on the new methodologies, the new ways of dealing with people. And one of the successful methods that we had is that I think all of the counseling staff and some of the CSWs went for trauma training, because that's one of the problems here is that people are using addiction to address traumas, trauma after trauma, and some of them just have so much trauma that's, they pretty well need an addiction to survive. And so I thought of all of that at the 30th celebration that we're having, and we do need to celebrate because of the impact that we've made on all the communities. And that story I told today about the mother who wrote a letter to Round Lake thanking Round Lake even though her son died, from overdose, and then he was still clutching the Round Lake handbook in his hand, So, and I think that's a reality, and staff here keep that kind of thing in mind, and then I think that's what motivates them, because they're all so motivated to work here. And many of them have had the same kinds of traumas in their lives as well, and they see this as a way of giving back from their own sobriety, for their own sobriety. They see this as giving back to people what they got. The 30th anniversary also, for myself, for my own personal life, is a hallmark, I guess you want to call it that. It marks a time in my life when I can say, gee, I've been a part of something that has really impacted our nations, in Canada, because a lot of people come here from all over Canada. And the other thing, it not only impacts Aboriginal people, but also our Eurocentric people who want to know about Round Lake. I was talking to a woman this morning, and she says, "What are you doing for the weekend?" And I explained to her what she was doing, and she says, "I wonder why we don't have anything like that." And she says, "I could name off a lot of people who would benefit from having a treatment center, based on what you're telling me, like finding out who you are and different things like that." So yeah, it's the anniversary, the 30th anniversary is just, it just makes me shiver when I think of it, like there's so many adjectives you could use to describe the feeling, but I think the one that I would use is just peacefulness. Like it's a whole sense of peace that 3 or 4 people could start something and probably not thinking that it would ever turn out to be like this, 30 years of being in operation and 9,000 people, being offered treatment. The founding fathers, I think, reflected back on their own lives and wanted something different for their families, and for people around them. They were both, they were all 3 of them involved, and I don't know that much about Tinker Watts, but I know for JD, Emery, and Les, they were really into 12-step programs. And so they found their sobriety through 12-step programs, but then they knew there was something else, why people weren't going to 12-step programs, and then just through their meetings and talking to each other, there had to be something more. And this idea came up, and the founding fathers like they said, they spent a lot of time going to meetings. Like they had meetings in Kamloops, Penticton, Vernon, Salmon Arm, Enderby. They had them all over this area. I think they even went to the coast at one time to hold meetings and to get people interested. One person that wasn't mentioned today, and she was a executive director here for many years, was Alice Clausen. And she was here, I think she was here, yeah. She was here during the time when they were in trailers. And she was the one who, along with Emery, JD, and the other people who were on the board, started developing what we see today. So yes, I give her a lot of credit. You know, like she stayed here as long as she could, and then got a different job offer. One thing, it's really easy if you don't take care of yourself when you're working in such a place as this, and you can burn out real quickly. But anyway, she was one person that was part of the founding as well. I think JD said this morning that he and Emery were the ones that were the pushers, right? But they engaged other people, and I can't think of other people's names right now, for the writing of proposals and you know, those kinds of things. So yeah, I'm very grateful for them, for their energy that they put in to you know, the foundation and the formation of Round Lake. Emery I knew personally as well as JD, and he really had he had the future. I think he was considering the future of his children. You know, he had 5 children, and I see him putting a lot of energy in it for him. And now his son sits on the board, you know, like and has been on the board for a number of years, and JD Billy, you know, he's been on the board. He served as a board member for many years, and now he's an honorary board member. And their zest for keeping this establishment going and being the best it can is, I think it's just marvelous, you know, like the amount of time that JD puts in, you know, so that's really something good. And I have, today's the first time I met Tinker Watts. So, and just looking at him, he's a very energetic person as well, you know. And I think through just observation, they're very compassionate. They're very compassionate about their sobriety, and they want everybody else to have it, right? So they work programs, and Step 12 says, you know, like you need to provide service, and also that whatever you have, you need to give it away.
That's fantastic.
I'm thinking of Graydon Alexis. He came on board, and he was on, I think he was on the board for 20 years plus. And he would just be so happy because he was so aware, and he would have us, you know, saying, well, we must do this, we must do that, you know, like one of the things that I know he'd be talking about is family treatment, because he had a family as well. One of his sons was here today, and that he was just, especially shortly before he passed away, I think he had, his family started having children, and he had numerous grandchildren. So I think one of the things that he would say was that we need to look at family treatment. And for Emery, I think he'd say that we need a bigger place. You know, we need a bigger place. And we need to, he would probably also say that we have to do something about the water, because he was like the outside person. He wanted things to be good, you know, for the center to run. And he was also very political. He's the one who really saw that the money was coming into Round Lake. For Gordy, who was the running of the sweats and the real cultural man, I think he would want more men coming to the center, you know, promoting culture, traditions, the way to do things, passing on, getting people. It didn't matter what tribe, get them to come in and share their traditional songs, and yeah. I really want to acknowledge and express gratitude for those staff that have been here for so long. It's not a job for them. I think it's a way, more of a way of life, and so I really acknowledge them, because as in all organization, there have been trials and tribulations, but they were the ones that stayed steady and true, you know. And I really want to say, you know, Cook's Jam to them for hanging in there. I enjoyed it immensely. I lived in Chase, and that's 84 kilometers away, and I drove here every day. Didn't matter what kind of weather. And it's just a place, a wonderful place to work. You know, the people were wonderful. We just got, well, we had our trials and tribulations, our growth spurts, and I never thought of working anywhere else. You know, for the time I was here, I never thought of working anywhere else. I never looked for another job. You know, it was just so, it inspired me to stretch my learning abilities, because, you know, when you're working with people, you know a few things, but then you start wondering, well, if we did this together, then that might resolve some of the concerns they have. And like I said, my coworkers were really wonderful, and Wayne Wayne Christian as a supervisor, he was just totally awesome. You know, like he just provided the staff with opportunities to grow, and the support is just immense. And I know even today I can go to him for support. So he doesn't, you know, he's gone from here, but he didn't leave anybody. You know, he's physically gone, but he's, you know, like I know a lot of the staff still call him. Yeah. I would like to wish Round Lake, I do wish Round Lake a very grateful celebration on behalf of myself personally, and on behalf of all women who have come through here, and on behalf of those women's children, and all the men who are involved in the women's lives. On their behalf, we say Cook's Jam.